Our old friend Lee Fong is with us. He is an investigative reporting fellow with the Nation Institute and a contributor to The Nation magazine, the website thenation.com. Lee, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for having me.
It's always great having you on. You have been poking around and discovering that these scholars, literally scholars, people who make a living doing science or looking into things, who testify before Congress or show up on NPR or whatever, aren't always what they seem.
That's right, Tom. My story concerns the different professors and academics who have been very active in financial reform, many of them being covertly funded by the big banks and other financial institutions. And, if you look at Washington lobbying campaigns, sponsored research happens all the time. What's unique about Dodd-Frank regulations is that there's been an elevated sense of importance for the role of academics in shaping the regulations. So big banks have had a big incentive to go out and hire dozens of professors from state colleges, from Ivy Leagues, from very prestigious universities to go out and publish studies and meet with regulators to push their point of view.
So the big banks hire somebody who's a professor at Acme University or one of the famous universities, who's a PhD and all that kind of thing, and who may or may not be philosophically aligned with them, but a substantial paycheck can certainly change somebody's opinion fairly quickly. And these people then show up and testify before Congress without disclosing that link?
Yeah, testifying is one big part of it. The other part is the rulemaking process. Whenever a regulator comes out with a new rule, and Dodd-Frank has 400 rules, 200 of which still haven't been implemented, they have to open what's called a rulemaking process where they solicit comments from the public. Now, the banks and other financial institutions are hiring professors to flood the zone and offer their own letters and studies, usually representing the bank's view, but without disclosing the payments. And what's interesting here is that the D.C. Circuit, this very conservative federal appellate court, 1 year after Dodd-Frank passed, made a very controversial ruling that elevated the significance of these letters in the rulemaking process. So when the financial institutions don't like a regulation once it's actually handed down, they're going to court and saying, hey, look, the regulator didn't consider this professor from Yale or Stanford. They wrote a study, and that wasn't included in the regulation. And look at this D.C. Circuit decision that elevated the importance of these letters. We'd like to challenge it in court. And in many cases, they're winning huge court battles to stop some of the big Dodd-Frank regulations. On the flip side, the regulators, now that they have this increased burden, they're trying to hire more economists to grapple with all these kind of, some of them very kind of junk studies. And congressional Republicans are at the same time cutting their budget. So it's bogged down the entire process. It's weakened the reform, and it makes the rest of the rules that still haven't been implemented very hard to implement.
And all of this so that corrupt banksters on Wall Street can continue to take million, 10 million, 100 million, and in some cases billion-dollar annual paychecks, and thus use that money to fund the right-wing think tanks and to bankroll these scientists, quote, academics, who then give this testimony without disclosing the links. Is there any... I mean, you would think, given that Dodd-Frank doesn't even go as far as Glass-Steagall did. I mean, it's a Band-Aid on a cancer, but at least it's a Band-Aid. You would think that by trying to stop Dodd-Frank, these guys would realize that they're just setting up another crash.
Well, if you look at these regulations and how much they're paying these professors, it's anywhere from $5,000 to a couple $100,000. It's really a rounding error for the amount of profits, quarterly profits that a lot of these financial institutions are making, and it's a good return on investment. So look at the Volcker Rule, which is kind of attempting to solve some of the problems that Glass-Steagall did, or look at the commodity speculation position limits rule, which limits the amount speculation any of these financial actors can engage in with, in regards to oil or wheat. They blocked these rules using this academic research, or watered them down in many cases. So, this is billions of dollars in financial activity that the big banks, they don't want to be hampered. They want to be prevented from engaging in these types of activities. So it's in their interest to hire these think tanks and to go out and solicit these professors.
Wow. So this is a case where they make $100,000 investment in a professor, and they may make $1 million or $10 million in profits.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And you have a new kind of fiduciary duty, right? So what's interesting is that Moody's credit rating agency, when they actually nominated a professor from Stanford to be on their board, their nominating message to their shareholders, why you should vote for this guy, is that he's an outstanding academic and he enjoys regular contacts with regulators. That the CFTC, the SEC, the people on the Senate Banking Committee regularly solicit his advice. So that's why we should vote him onto our board and pay him $220,000 a year.
Now, did they realize that he was offering that advice because somebody else was paying him, and they were saying, now we can pay this guy too?
Well, I don't know about that dynamic, but it just goes to show that academics are a big part of how these professors or how these financial institutions regularly influence.
Oh, I see. So this was an example of a financial institution saying, let's get this guy on board because basically we can own him. We can own access to the regulators.
and the nominating documents are just really revealing because they say that explicitly. Look, we need more influence in these regulatory bodies. Here's a guy who can influence them. In this case, it's a professor.
Amazing. Amazing. Is there any attempt by anybody to put an end to this?
No. Congressional Republicans did something very interesting. They said that they would actually create more disclosure in the testimony process, because you constantly have folks going on to Capitol Hill saying they're from one group, but really they're representing another special interest. And they said that they would have these truth and testimony forms. Well, if you look at the truth and testimony forms that the Republicans put out, they're basically empty. They say, enter your name, where you work, and enter if you have received an earmark. That's it. If you received money if you received a $1.3 million from big banks like this one Harvard professor, Hal Scott.
Hang on just a second, Lee.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
It's amazing. Lee Fong, thenation.com is the website. The name of your article, The Scholars Who Shill for Wall Street?
Yep, that's right.
Thank you, Lee. Thanks for the great work you're doing.
Thanks.